Hello and welcome everybody. Today we're going to be taking a look at a board that I've been wanting to cover for a while. I've had it for several months now, and I just haven't figured out how I want to present it. So I think we're going to try to rebuild it today and try to talk a little bit about the board and what my thoughts have been with it. Before we get started though, I do want to let you know that I did receive this secondhand, and there may be some parts that are missing out of it, and we'll talk about that here shortly. But I still think there's a lot to be said about what is here and some design choices that I think we'll cover in depth that are going to make a big difference on whether or not you purchase this board and what type of plates you go with. So with that being said, this board, this is from Meletrix, which is the sister company of Wuche, which is basically kind of the equivalent of QWERTY keys for OwlLab. Inside this carrying case, which does come with the board when you purchase it, we have the Zoom65. Now this is a Zoom65 Olivia edition. I do have the keycaps here. This was originally built with lavender switches when I received it secondhand, and I had some issues with it, and I wasn't really happy with the sound for one. In addition to not being happy with the sound, I did not like some of the things that I was experiencing with it, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. So let's go ahead and set this aside. You would normally have the case. You've got your knob here. So it comes with this gold knob. You would get your foam fillers. This is part of the foam filler that I have removed, which again, we'll talk about why in a moment. We'll also talk about why I decided that I needed to cut it up into little pieces. That's going to be very important to discuss here momentarily. But we'll come back to that in a moment. Then you get our little bag of goodies. You're going to want to keep this little tiny Allen key. That's for tightening up the knob. And then you've got this regular Allen wrench for unscrewing the case. All of these components will normally come separately in here, and then your case will normally be in the bottom. And this is a pretty nice and robust case. So they do provide a pretty nice Alcantara feeling type case, which, you know, it is pretty nice for what it is. All right, so let's get this off here, and then we'll take a look at the board. All right. Now I do want to give a heads up. I do have a storm rolling in, so there may be some background noise. But anyway, let's get taking a look at this. So this is the Olivia edition. It comes non-Bluetooth, standard wired. This one does not have the weight. I don't believe the original Olivias had the weight. But this one definitely does not have the weight, the brass weight that goes on the inside. It's got this nice, beautiful Zoom logo on the outside, on the bottom, which is really cool. And then the finish is interesting. I don't know if you'll be able to see it in the lighting here, but if I move it around, you might be able to see the speckles there. I don't know what it is about my particular lighting environment, but these speckles appear red to me. I've had people say that they're multicolored, but to me they appear very red. Not sure how the stabilizers come stock. These ones here seem to have been put in dry, and we'll have to take care of that before we get too deep into the keycap part of it. And then we've got a polycarbonate plate. It does come with IXPE. So we do get the PE foam, which is kind of nice. It also comes with pour-on plate foam, and then it's stuffed with lots of pour-on. And that is where part of our issue lies. And we can't really tell here. It's more prevalent when I have the switches in. But one thing you'll notice when you load this full of foam with a polycarbonate plate, if you see how flexible it is, so it is very, very flexible. It's like sitting on a pillow. With all of these flex cuts, the PCB itself is flex cut per row. And with that, when you put the switches in, I noticed that when you have all the filler inside of the board, it kind of bulges in the middle here like this. And what that does is it makes the plate have to kind of sit down into the cavities where the gasket wings are mounted. And because of that, some of the keycaps don't fit properly. In my case, they fit fine, but there was a clear slight curvature to them. But I have seen others build this board where they had some keycap fitment where they weren't able to actually get it to go together properly. The plate is also kind of an issue, the way it's cut to accommodate these hidden screw designs. I don't think with polycarbonate already being what it is and as soft as it is, we run into some issues where putting switches in here, it behaves less like a plate and more like just something that doesn't even need to be there. But on the plus side, as again you can see, this plate is very, very, very flexy. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and take a look at what we get on the inside. So we're going to use our Zool screwdriver kit here. Again, this will always be linked into the description. And if you like what you're seeing so far, be sure to head on down and hit that subscribe button to see more content like this. And hit that like button to let me know that you like what you're seeing. If I recall correctly, this is a 1.5. And I don't think it's... No, it is. It's a 1.5. Okay, let's go ahead and take these screws out and see what we're working on the inside. Now I have already disassembled this previously. Like I said, I've been trying to find something to do with this in terms of video content. And today I just finally broke down, since the EE editions or the essential editions are finally being delivered to people. I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about this board and at least just take a look at it. All right, that's the last one there. Now, one thing I want to talk about is these little tabs. So when you are assembling your board, be extremely mindful of these little tabs. In the Wuche server, I have seen people with these tabs having problems. I'm not sure how they broke them, but they were able to break them. So be mindful of that. Okay. So there's no daughter board, it's all one piece. This one does have the standoffs installed around the rotary encoder, I guess, to give it some stiffness. These are my own little pieces of neoprene that I put in there to try to add some dampening. But you do get the, again, you get the IXPE, you get some stabilizers, and we are definitely gonna, I would normally lube these, but I think we're just going to injection lube them and call it a day. The USB is attached. And we do get some multi-layout support, so it looks like we have ISO support if we really wanted to run ISO, I believe. Yeah, so we do have ISO support. So your stabs can go here and here, and you can put a switch there where that is currently at. And then on this side, we can do stepped or non-stepped caps. And then it does look like we have support for split space. But to what extent, I'm unsure. Yeah, because it does support the stabilizers there, so you can do split shift. Cool. So there is some layout options that are available to you. I'm not going to take the standoffs out of here, and really I might actually consider putting standoffs in, but I do want a softer typing feel, and those standoffs are not really going to make much of a difference in terms of that issue that we were talking about with it bending. So this does come with these pour-on strips, and these pour-on strips, the person who had this before me put them on the case rather than on the plate. And then this would normally come with a bunch of pour-on pieces. So I have put neoprene in here to try to alter some of the levels here. Now this is the biggest issue that I take with this board design. On this case, we have these steps. Now this is where your battery would go if you had the wireless version. What they give you is a piece of pour-on. Metal, this little metal lip does not move, clearly. And this is very squishy pour-on. Now, had the person provided all the foams for me, I would also have a piece of foam that goes over this and would kind of raise that up to meet the lip on the outside. And that's why I use my own pieces of neoprene here. I don't have any pour-on, but I put some neoprene in here to try to even that out. That way, when I add this foam back in, this is our pour-on foam and this would be on top of those other sheets. But let me go ahead and put this back in here and show you where my issue lies, because I want to use this today. This was built with lavenders. I did not like the way the lavender sounded, so we're going to be building with a different switch that I pulled from another board that I know are nice quality switches. Okay, so if we take a look here, you may or may not be able to see it, but notice it is not flat because of that metal in the center here. If I can, but I mean, you can see it's clearly not a flat surface. There's all these different ripple effects in it, and I don't imagine that the pour-on that goes in here is going to do much better for it. I think what's going to happen is it's going to exist, but when we go to smash everything together, it's then going to have the same effect. Now what I had thought about doing was doing a silicone pour and filling this entire cavity with silicone, but I didn't want to dampen the board too much. So what we're going to try today is we're going to try putting this together the same way that we had it put together before, but we're going to put the foam back in it and try some switches that have a little bit more oomph to them. So the lavenders, you know, a lavender's it's a lavender. And the issue that I take with that is that they are normal pole switches, which are fine. But with them being normal pole switches, we have the issue of them being kind of quiet, kind of clacky, and I don't really enjoy that sound in a board. I think by this point you guys understand what type of sound signature that I'm looking for, especially with showcasing the cream sodas lately. I like something that is, dare I say, creamy and marbly and poppy, all those buzzwords, but I actually genuinely enjoy those sounds, not just because somebody told me I should enjoy them. Okay, so we've got things lined up here. Now this is what I want to show you. This is what's important. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there's like a curvature. There's a bulge. Can you see the bulge? So if I squeeze this shut like we have it screwed down, it's, wow, I didn't know camera couldn't pick that up that well. But this whole centerpiece where that battery would normally go is bulged up. And I think it'd be fine if we had an alu plate or something like that. But because we're not using an alu plate, I think it really creates a kind of a problem, because now the whole board is bowed and you've got these, your plates are gonna, your switches are gonna sit in here, and these gasket wings are in the opposite direction. But let's go ahead and put it back together, and we'll slap some switches on here and see if we can make it sound any better. Alright, so we've got it all back together. And the switches that we're going to be utilizing are these switches. These were used for the JJK84 video that I did. It has been determined that the JJK84 has some issues that they are not willing to fix on the software side, the firmware side. So that board has gotten retired, and I am reusing some of its components. Now these are the Ron Burgundy switches, as they've been coined by some of my friends. Shout out to Gamble and Randy. These are Ron Burgundy switches that consist of a milky top, a milky bottom. So these are originally Milky Yellow Pros. They've been lubed and filmed with Duroc 0.15 millimeter films. And they use a Kailh stem from a Burgundy. So these are essentially creamerons in styling, but they are Gateron switches with Burgundy stems, thus Ron Burgundies. Again, thank you for that, guys. So we're going to pop these in here. These are a long pole Milky switch. These are kind of the original inspirations for the Gateron cream sodas, which we then swapped out the bottom, the Milky bottom, and added in, here's one right here. So we got rid of the Milky bottom, and then we changed it out for an ink bottom. Okay, so let's go ahead and pop these guys in. We'll go around the outside perimeter first, and then we'll filler in on the insides. I'll see you guys on the other side. There we go. That is the last of the Ron Burgundies. And again, if you are interested in putting these together yourself, I'll put links to the switches that I utilize in the description. So I'm just checking right now. I mean, you can kind of see the bow, but I don't think I'm going to be able to illustrate it very well on camera. So if you look down the rows, you can see there's a little wobble, a little wiggle, a little jiggle. They're not ideally there, but I don't think that's necessarily going to impact how it is. So these are the Olivia keycaps, and I wanted to show you guys their thickness. I was under the impression that they were a little bit thin. They actually feel quite thin, but you can see here this is 1.2 millimeters. In there. So 1.2 millimeter caps. But I want to change it up. I didn't really, the Olivia theme was fine and they're cool keycaps. I'd rather not get them shined up or whatever. So I've got our black on white and white on black keycaps that we utilized. Again, We'll put those in the description. These are 1.2 millimeters as well. And I don't know what it is about them, but I do feel like I like the sound of these more. They have kind of this chalky sound that I really enjoy. So we're going to take a look at those, or rather we're going to put those on here in just a moment, but I want to show you what you get. So these are Gligging minimal clones essentially, but I don't really consider them clones since it's just a black on white colorway. But I want to show you the kitting that you get. I was really impressed with these. These keycaps they go anywhere between $30 and $40. You get kitting for $75, $65, you know, all your different 1Us and whatnot. You get your alphas, and we've stolen some of the mods and stuff out of this one. But you get your black and white alphas, and if you look here, I mean, they are quite crisp. That is a really nice double shot PBT keycap set. And then you get, this is one of the nicer things, is look at that spacebar support that you get. So if you want to run split space on a 40%, this kit got you covered. So I mean, this is, like I said, 36 bucks, 25 on the cheap end. I definitely recommend taking a look at these, and it comes in a white on black and a black on white, so a wob and a bow. So let's go ahead and get these Oreo combinations. So this is a combination of the black on white and the white on black. We'll put these on, then we'll get whatever we need out of that for the, because we're switching from a 75% compact to a 65%. So let's get these dumped out, and let's start getting some keycaps put on. There you have it. You know, for somebody who hates filming black and white with my lighting, it's going to do it quite a bit. But I think this came out really pretty. Let's go ahead and put the knob on, and then we will do a quick typing test. So with this knob, you've got to be careful. It cannot be sitting all the way down, because if it is all the way down, you won't be able to use the button. So you got to kind of lift up on it a little bit. And you want to make sure that it's in the D part properly. And then just kind of snug down your little nut that's in there. Now our button works. Gently turn it, make sure it doesn't hit the sides. And easy peasy. Alright, so I think this came out looking pretty good. You know, the white on the white and black, you know, the Oreo look on the zoom, the black zoom. Looks pretty good. So let's do a typing test really quick, and we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit about what our thoughts are on it. Alright, so after the typing test and building it with switches that I actually enjoy, I'm glad I didn't get rid of this. I was thinking about getting rid of it, and I'm glad I didn't, because what this brings to the table is very much what the Zoom65 and the QK65 and soon the Gyrus or Jairus, whatever, and that is these boards bring to the table a shift in the monetary point for getting into something that sounds and feels high quality. In years past, you'd spend $400, $500, $600 for a board like this. And what you're getting in these newer boards is pretty amazing. Yes, they're foam laden and they're designed around that foam insert because it's inexpensive and it's easy to achieve a sound profile that is very popular right now. And paired with an inexpensive, switch, cream sodas will be a good substitute because you'll be able to get these for 75 cents. And these switches are pre-lubed from the factory, so you won't have to lube them. So somebody who's new to the hobby could pick up something like one of these boards that I just mentioned. They can put all the foam inserts in, they can use cream sodas, they can slap on some inexpensive $30 keycaps, and you can have people enjoying boards like they never could before. And that's what this represents. And I didn't want to get rid of it because it's what it represented, but I was very not happy with my original build. Now there are some fit and finish issues. I noticed that this does not line up here. I don't know if this was an early prototype or if this was an actual production unit. This did come from another YouTuber that received this for review, and I got it from them. And so I don't know if this is an early unit or not. I do want to try to get the brass weight for it because it does feel mighty light. It does not have the heft of the QWERTY keys, the QK65, and does not have the heft of the Zoom65. But overall, I'm quite happy with this switch selection. The other choice was going to be Neapolitan ice creams for a tactile experience, and I think that would have worked out well as well. I just wanted to tear down that JJK and put some of those switches to good use, and I've already taken the time to lube these. Now, it's not to say that a factory lube switch will not sound just fine, but I just love that chalky, creamy sound that you get from Milky switches that are lubed and filmed, partnered with these particular keycaps. And I'm sure other PBT keycaps will work, but anyway, I'm happy with this. I'm not unhappy with it. And, I would definitely recommend for the price point. I think these were like $180 for the Essentials edition. You're looking at less than $300 to get a very premium feeling experience in terms of sound. If you're looking for that foamy sound profile, the IXPE. And it's a good buy. It's well worth it. But I think I'm definitely going to drive this now. I'm less reluctant. I actually enjoy this sound, so I want to give this some time to type on and see how I like it. I mean, as you can see, there's still a pretty good bit of flex. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think. Again, if you want any of this stuff, I will put links to it all down in the description. Again, don't hesitate to hit that like and subscribe button. And yeah, leave me some comments about what you guys would like to see in the future, what you guys thought about this board. If you're getting a Zoom Essential Edition, or you've already purchased an Olivia Edition, let me know what your thoughts are on this board. Do you like it? Are you enjoying it? Did you have any problems with this plate? Did you get the weight with yours? Did it come with it if you got the Olivia Edition? I would love to know answers to these things, and I'd love to hear what your guys' thoughts are on your builds. But as always, until next time, I hope y'all have a good one.